If there is a higher dimensional containing space in which our four-dimensional space-time continuum is just a subset, this may tell us something about psi phenomena. Now, the idea that psi phenomena might be explained by a higher dimensional universe is not new. I mean, it's almost obvious once you know about higher dimensions. If me and someone around the world are 10,000 miles away on this planet, but 1 millimeter away in the fourth dimension, then it makes it quite simple how we could communicate with each other. I mean, just as 2 points could be very far away on this piece of paper, but very close in the third dimension. I mean, the problem with that naive idea that psi is communicating through higher dimensions is it kind of explains too much. I mean, if it were that simple, then why aren't we all just connected together all the time in an explicit and practical way? So there's got to be some specific logic to these higher dimensions, and I think morphic resonance is probably part of that. I discussed this and some other ideas in the Euryphysics blog. Another interesting possibility is the Eurycosm may be modeled as hypercomputational. If our 4D spacetime continuum is effectively modelable via Turing-computable models, which it seems to be. I mean, all known theories of physics, from quantum mechanics, nuclear physics, Einstein's general relativity theory, these are all, in essence, Turing-computable. Quantum theory cannot compute any functions except those that are Turing-computable. A quantum computer can do some things much faster, exponentially faster in the average case than a classical Turing machine, but it can't compute any non-Turing computable functions. Neither can you with general relativity. Seems like the evidence points in the direction that our physical universe may be Turing computable, but maybe the wider containing space is hypercomputable, and maybe our minds touch that somehow, maybe using some morphic resonance embedded in quantum noise, which isn't all noisy. Perhaps this morphic resonant quantum quasi noise popping up in our brains from time to time due to weak quantum coherence phenomena, perhaps this is our way of accessing a hypercomputational oracle. Morphic resonance pervading our brains in a way that goes beyond Turing computation. Think about reincarnation and apparent survival after death. One way to think about that is that each of us as an individual may have an existence in this space-time continuum and an existence outside this space-time continuum, elsewhere in the Eurycosm. The part of me that's not in this space-time continuum has its own existence in that higher dimensional containing space and may morphically resonate or otherwise complexly interact with the part of me that's in this space-time continuum. The idea that our mind patterns in some sense exist beyond this 4D space-time continuum and can pop up in this 4D space-time continuum spatially or temporally separated from the physical body with which our minds are primarily associated. I mean, that seems real. Something is going on there. Another fascinating aspect of all this is if you do have morphic resonance and a Eurycosm full of patterns, that implies symbols may actually have real power, because a symbol is something that shares patterns with a lot of other things. So if you have morphic resonance sending some influence between one instance of a pattern and another instance of that pattern, I mean, then a symbol like, say, the hexagrams in the I Ching, or the 9-dimensional machine elves that some of us have seen while under the influence of DMT and other substances. I mean, these symbols which resonate and overlap with so many specific instances, morphic resonance would suggest they could have some real resonant power. The Eurycosm may contain many patterns, and it may contain patterns that correspond to powerful symbols in our world, so that when we create something manifesting a certain symbolic pattern, it resonates with the instance of that symbolic pattern in the Eurycosm, which then resonates back to other instances of that symbolic pattern in our universe. I mean, that might have something to do with the phenomenon that the great quantum physicist Eugene Wigner noted in his classic paper, The Unreasonable Effectiveness of Mathematics in the Natural Sciences. Now, why is the same math so persistent all across this universe? It's weird. Now, maybe it's just that math is good, math is powerful, or maybe there's something spookier going on where once a certain mathematical symmetry takes hold and is persistent throughout a large swath of the universe, morphic resonance phenomena, in other words, the tendency to take habits, the tendency that once a pattern is there, it's especially more likely to pop up somewhere else. Maybe that helps explain why the same mathematical phenomena are so pervasive in this universe we're in. And, you know, if you look, there's endless other examples of how the same simple mathematical patterns pop up over and over and over again. I mean, the mandalas of ancient times look a lot, in some cases, like the multiplication table of the octonion division algebra. And these same algebras, abstract algebras, pop up all over the place. I mean, my friend Tony Smith had some fun and wacky web pages exploring his theories of physics and exploring their relation with voodoo, with art, with music, and all sorts of other stuff. I mean, there's a lot of wild speculation here. I pursued some of it in a paper some years ago called Mirror Neurons, Mirror Houses, and the Algebraic Structure of the Self. I mean, looking there at octonion mirror houses, what happens when you're inside a dodecahedral or tetrahedral mirror house? How do the algebras there relate to the algebras in physics? How do the algebras there relate to the algebras of conscious self-reflection inside the human mind, to these hyperset structures in the mind that I talked about at the beginning of this ramble? So these are ideas I thought about with Tony Smith, Kent Palmer, and Oner in the late 1990s. I'm not sure how much of it is just funky speculative nonsense, how much has any real meaning. There's a lot of other even weirder thoughts by other people out there exploring archetypal sacred geometries and their meaning for the mind. And I'll tell you, if you stare at these pictures in certain altered states of consciousness, you will become convinced they are manifesting, fundamental symmetries and processes of the mind and universe. And then these things pop up in models of theoretical physics in all sorts of surprising ways. So there's a lot of spooky symbolism power out there. There's also potentially a tie-in with non-dual states of consciousness. I mean, if you look at, for example, the Vedantic hierarchy, Indian and Chinese theories of higher states of consciousness, the states of consciousness you can get into on psychedelics or in a more lasting way by meditation and wisdom traditions, or that some people just pop into all of a sudden in a sudden enlightenment. Many of these states of consciousness appear to involve your own individual mind getting simpler and simpler as you let go of attachments and untie mental knots, but your mind becoming more and more coupled with a broader universe, with aspects that ordinary people don't even see. It may be that non-dual states of consciousness, enlightened states of consciousness, involve more and more resonance with aspects of the universe beyond our space-time continuum.